Spiritual ideals and their attainment. Externally, each one of us plays so many roles in life, but all of these are guided by a common motive force. Blood circulates and reaches all parts of the body, but it is the heart that pumps it everywhere. The digestive system provides necessary nutrition to all parts of the body. If the system does not function properly, every part will be adversely affected. Similarly, if heart stops functioning, every other part comes to a standstill in almost no time. In the same manner, all of our actions are, in the ultimate analysis, affected by our thought level, whether they are noble or ignoble. That ultimately determines our pattern of life. It has to be accepted that actions are governed by thoughts, and any change in desired actions can only follow change in thoughts. Every movement for change in human actions must start from efforts to bring about change in the thought process. Social life has many dimensions: spiritual, political, social, economic, mental, and physical. Each facet has its own problems and complications. Numerous questions arise in each area, and people are constantly involved in trying to find solutions to the problems. Many steps are taken to remedy the situations or resolve the conflicts. Reformers in all spheres keep on preaching what should be done for greater success and achievement. Movements are launched, but efforts bear fruit only when the surrounding conditions are appropriate. Where the desired ends are not in tune with the efforts being made, the results are rarely worthwhile. If the everyday life of an individual is full of sin, deceit, envy, and malice, the evidence is obvious that his thoughts are ignoble. Efforts bear fruit only if they are motivated with faith in good values of life. Self-discipline and good conduct are basic to the success of any effort towards achievement of a goal. Spirituality is best exhibited through good conduct in everyday life. Whoever practices spirituality will achieve excellence of a level higher than that achieved by an ordinary person. Spiritual progress would be the natural course of an event for the person who is pure and gentle in his everyday conduct. Higher objectives like self-realization can be achieved in such cases without much difficulty. God is omnipresent. He pervades all forms of life on this earth. One does not have to go to any special place to feel his presence. All that one has to do is to demolish the walls of ignorance that create artificial barriers between man and his creator. Anyone who can discriminate between the real and the projection can feel his presence in everything around him. God, whose realization offers the ultimate bliss, is also the personification of all that is true, eternal, and beautiful. He can be perceived by all of us, provided we make efforts to remove our ignorance and enlighten ourselves. Once the veil of ignorance is removed, God the Almighty starts manifesting himself all around in all objects, in all thoughts, and in all actions, providing bliss that is eternal and within. The search finally ends. The achievement of such spiritual goals is possible for all of us. Once the process of self-improvement is initiated, other things follow. Heaven, salvation, peace, God realization, and similar objectives come within the reach of the individual. Ethics should be the basis for all politics. Politics today dominates all aspects of our social life. It has assumed unusual importance in our lives. In the ancient age, politics was limited to dispensation of justice and maintenance of law and order, but now its scope is widened, and it encompasses almost every sphere of our life. Health, culture, language, literature, fine arts, science, and public tastes are all influenced by politics. Education, production, labor, trade, administration, justice, public works, promotion of science and technology, etc., all are totally within the control of politics. Gradually, the influence of politics is spreading to more and more things that were at one time considered to be of a personal nature. In dictatorships, the people are at best a cog in the wheel of state machinery. People have no control over means through which they could know, think of, derive conclusions. Public media are controlled by the dictator, and as such, public opinion is molded the way the dictator desires. Even under other systems, politics is gradually assuming a more and more dominant role in the individual's life. The day is not far when the individual will be reduced to being a mere puppet in the hands of the politician. If such be the influence of politics in our everyday life, any shortcomings in the political culture of the society is bound to affect the concerned individuals very adversely. In the present situation, where people are becoming more and more selfish, it is very necessary that the political administrators have a broad outlook and are inspired with high ideals and morals. As the king, so his subjects, goes a famous saying, and with lots of truth about it. Everyone looks up for higher ideals or models of conduct. In the ancient age, the Brahmas, men of devout austerity, the learned, and the rishis, saints, guided the kings. The former used to be persons of high morals and ideals, so the king and his subjects had before them ideals of good conduct which they followed in their everyday life. The direction for righteous conduct was provided by the learned and the rishis, who exercised moral authority over the king. The subjects only followed their king. The politician is today's king. The general public looks towards him for guidance and imitation so far as day-to-day conduct of business is concerned. The media, audio, visual, as well as the printed one, is full of speech, exhortations, plans, and movements of the politicians. The politician is the most talked about person in meetings and conferences. They are the topic of conversation everywhere. They are the ones held responsible for all successes or failures of schemes. The politician of today has achieved an important position in our lives. If that be so, he should have the ideals that were once held by the saints and rishis in ancient societies. Unless that happened, from whom would the public servant and the common masses derive inspiration? Where the men at the top have a weak character, they cannot be a source of inspiration or a model worth imitation for the ordinary people. If the lighthouse is dark, from what source would people seek that right path? The need for men with high ideals at the top is being felt in national as well as international circles. Much of the misery and frustration among the common men all over the world can be ascribed to the death of such persons. The nations of the world stand divided today between rival camps, with non-aligned nations sidelined in all of major world decisions. The rival camps and powers are constantly fighting cold wars for supremacy. Nuclear bombs have given additional power to the superpowers of the world, and the danger of a third world war constantly looms largely over humanity. The slightest misunderstanding can create a situation in which some nuclear device is triggered off and all that mankind has achieved over billions of years brought to naught. Chemical warfare or a nuclear holocaust could expose the Earth and its creatures to polluted atmosphere radiations that would render millions of people maimed or disabled for decades or even centuries to come. The politicians of today control all the resources of the world. They have at their disposal the best brains, able advisors, technology, and scientific research, and so much more. All that is wanting is a generous approach and human feelings that transcend national boundaries. Only if the world today were guided by the persons of the caliber of Gandhi, Christ, Buddha, Socrates, or Confucius, life on earth could have been heavenly. How when vicious politics were not guided by diplomacy, but by universal morality? If that could happen, there would be peace and happiness abounding in every part of the world. It is the responsibility of the administration to take measures that would increase production and also control actions that are immoral. Administration is expected to ensure for all citizens equality of opportunity and social justice. These objectives can be achieved only through honest public servants who are loyal to the ideals of the state, dutiful, and impartial in their conduct of official business. Laws exist in the statute books, but what really matters is their implementation by the public servants in the spirit of the law. If the public servants are men of integrity and ideals, peace and prosperity of the subject is assured. On the other hand, if the public servants are indifferent to their responsibilities, people will lose faith in the judicious character of the state and the government. Corruption will become rampant in every walk of life. The evil and the wicked will bribe the public officials for their personal gains, howsoever illegal they might be. The common man will suffer in such a situation, being unable to compete with the wicked. All that any government does for the prevention of crime in the society has negligible effect once the implementing officials are dishonest and corrupt. Public good can never be achieved through public servants who are not honest, dutiful, and men of integrity. In a democracy, the people indirectly control the administrative machinery. The people should exercise their rights with discretion. If the people choose to be influenced by factors like caste, religion, or personal relationships while casting their votes and electing their representatives, they will never get a government manned by competent and capable persons. In such situations, people should not expect a good, efficient, or ideally motivated administration. The type of government people get would depend on the considerations they have in mind while casting their votes. In a democracy, public opinion plays a vital role. Wherever the public chooses men of integrity to manage their affairs, the administrative machinery succeeds in delivering the goods. Politics today is a storehouse of power. Like the galloping horse, it needs to be bridled by ethics and morality. This power should be utilized for public good only. Our security, prosperity, progress, and peace ultimately depends on how political power is used. Diplomacy has to be substituted with universal morality, and then alone there is any hope for mankind to be happy and prosperous.